Hello and welcome to the Foresight Scrolls Channel. Here we examine charts and trade setups based on the Foresight Suite for Tradingview Indicators. We look at indices, stocks, cryptos, and commodities. If you want me to take a look at something specific, just drop it in the chat and I would be happy to do it. We'll take a look at it with the Foresight Scrolls and perhaps some other technical analysis. Normally we take a look at 4 things each day: an indice, a couple of cryptos, a stock. Today we're taking a look at the S&P 500 and 3 different cryptos. Some days we might look at commodities as well. So today let's start out with the S&P 500. We're looking at the SPY, which is the ETF that's heavily traded, tracking the S&P 500. What we're looking at here primarily is the flow of time. So we're seeing this blue line is what we call the epoch. There's not a lot to see here after this huge dump on Friday in the indices and stocks. This is a 3% dump in this particular ETF, which if you're in the crypto world, you probably don't think that's a lot, but that is a lot for a daily move in the stock world and the ETF world. So currently we're just seeing it sort of sit here on the epoch. We're waiting to see if we get any closes below it, and our flow of time here is actually looking to see, this would be an example, we don't just close below it and get this oblivion signal. It's a close below with some confluence of a few other things that we are using to try to confirm that in fact there should be some more downside. So that's what we're waiting on, to see if the S&P 500, it looks like it's time to go short on the S&P after all this time, since it's been in this run back since April. Yeah, wow. So it's really overextended or overbought, as they say, and due for a pullback. We don't know if we're going to get that pullback for sure, but the Foresight Scrolls would be the thing that we rely on to tell us that that would be the case. And it's pretty straightforward. That's one of the things we like about it. It's built to be powerful. It's a robust set of indicators based on a lot of clever coding. And we just watch it for its simplicity. You can tell that it keeps everything crisp and clean, and the moves are put in a way that are easily understandable, yet very powerful. So we go down, let's see, we're on Bitcoin now, and this is just an incredible thing that we're seeing here. So we see the premonition that we get, which is what it describes itself to be, a premonition that a move is coming. So if the labels are at the top with the tag pointed down, we think that there's going to be a short in the market or a bear move, and you would flip that. We would see labels down here for a bullish move that we predict. We get some. The move came so fast that our short sell at the bottom was a little late getting there. But you can see if we're over here at the 4-hour, somewhere over in here, when you see these labels start stacking on top of each other, that's normally a really good sign that there's incoming a move to the downside. And if you understand how to watch the indicators in a combined way, you see that we do get those premonitions, but then we get not only the move to the downside, but we break our trend and it retests it. And then we understand that it hasn't beat the trend, so that means further downside. So sometime around, let's see, even the day before the dump, our bias, our bet is to the downside. So even though here you see Bitcoin makes a 12.5% dump there. Much larger if you measure it from the top side, but we're getting, let's see, this is somewhere the day before, so somewhere in here, based on the 4-hour charts, we already know that this thing is coming. And to be fair, not that big. I mean, we would have expected it to hit our trend here and not just plow right through it. But you can see how our support here is held up, and it became the very support that this thing is hanging on. And now for us, it's just a matter of seeing if our epoch ends up flipping our wave here. And then if the echoes of time this dotted line here can continue to support. And we'll certainly be watching for more Foresight labels. And there are some other things too, if you're unfamiliar with. See, we have this confluence signal down here on the mystic spell. So not only do we get the spell, but this confluence that tells us this up move is incoming. What's really cool too is not only do you get this, but you see we get these closes above the epoch. So we flip the trend, goes to purple. We get the closes above the epoch, and we have all this happening at the same time. That gives us very strong indication that this big up move is coming. And so, again, not to belabor the point, but these are 4 indicators that work together, but they're meant to be simple, powerful, and simple. And also, I try to remember to say this each time. In past years, when watching people talk about their indicators, I often have the thought of, why are you even promoting this or selling it? Why aren't you just making tons of money? Well, the truth is that problems that we saw in the market, and specifically with indicators, we began to develop them for ourselves. And then it became clear that we were building something that was beyond us. So not only do we use it, but we also offer it. So you can check that out on ForesightScrolls.com. Let's jump over to Ethereum, check out what Ethereum's doing. Not a lot at the moment. Same sort of deal. By the way, anytime, let's go back to the S&P. Well, you can't see it as good on the S&P, but anytime you get a sell-off, oh no, let's go ahead and jump forward to Cardano or Ethereum, because this is the most insane bar. Watch the distance. Cardano dumped 65% of its value. 65%. So the market's immediately, what happens is you get a ton of volatility in the market, and the market doesn't know where it's going. It doesn't know what's happening. So a lot of the traditional tools you may use to trade the market have to wait a while for that to settle, because it's so disrupted everything about the market itself. We need to figure out what's happening here. But not to make too much of a rough transition here with Cardano, but you can see what we're getting here is we rejected off of our wave, and now, just as a matter of a little technical analysis or candle analysis, you see we have a bear candle, and then this is just sideways consolidation inside the bar, which is a bear flag. So normally that tells you price is going to come back down. Not much else to see with Cardano at the moment, and that's true for a lot of these cryptos. They're all sort of in the same pattern as of the moment. What we really hope to be able to do is day to day as we record, to be able to catch some of these things in real time. So in this case, this long spell here where we got above the wave and we got our confluence white triangle here, to be able to say, hey, this is, for us, this is long. And for you to be able to see that on the day that it happens is really what we're driving towards with the channel, to be able to spread the word about Foresight, but also share, the information as it's unfolding. You can see the premonitions have played out. They're not always perfect, but here, at least on these 4, they were pretty spot on. Played out just like we would have wanted them to. All right, let's make sure I finish up on Ethereum here. Let's jump out to the daily. As you can see, we're in the same sort of situation. Big inside bar. It's sort of really creating this it's not so much of a pin. It's really immature at the moment as far as a pattern goes, but that's because we're still so close to Friday. But you can see here that we're forming, we're sort of snaking around this line here, and some people may look at this and call it a cup and a handle. I'm not so confident in that. If we look at it in the just a regular candlestick pattern, it's really unclear where we're going at this moment. I would expect to see that we try to test this epoch again, but if this thing breaks back below the trend and below the echoes of time here, and we get a close there, then that would be signal enough for me to go to the downside. If that were to happen, by the way, and we get the mystic of time calls a short spell, just a short spell in general, but one with confluence, either one or two of the triangles, white triangles, we could know with some very good degree of confidence that we were going to go down. Lastly, I could show this. There is one more feature here. They're off at the moment. But there's an additional feature in here that we use sometimes, that you can see when the calls happen, you generally do get a push in that direction. We just have these as a sort of an additional feature, just another thing that you could check if you were curious. But for the most part, you're seeing everything here on screen that we use. Really, you're seeing our version of a trend here, and we have multiple ways to confirm trend, and those are on screen. We have premonitions of when the market is going to change direction, and confluence signals as well of when those things are going to happen. And when you learn to put those together, it really cleans the market up for you. It really takes the stress and the confusion out of trying to guess which way price is going to go. All right, thanks for tuning in. And in the future, if you want to subscribe and jump in and ask us to check out a chart on any particular symbol, we would be more than happy to do it. That'd be fun. See you next time. Bye-bye.